Hey guys, Yuru here, and in today's video I will be on my Alt Protection Paladin pugging Mythic 15s. I wanted to put this video out today just for those of you who might also be pugging. As you can see, I'm guildless. All I do is pug. Sometimes it can be a nightmare, but sometimes it can go pretty well. So this here is Necrotic Wake, and just kind of wanted to walk you through how I treat my pug groups when I'm in high mythic plus keys. So just follow along. I'll be giving some commentary along the way, and enjoy the video. Thank you. So with these first few pulls, and anytime I'm in a pug, I always kind of take it slower than usual. I'm not going to make massive group pulls just in case the healer can't keep up or if the DPS are just atrocious with their CC. So I start pulling a little slowly here for like probably the first 3 or 4 pulls. You might want to do the same if you're a pug tank having difficulties timing high keys. As you can see here, my healer's doing just fine. Hey, look at my damage. The Death Knight is just killing it right now. So I start chain pulling, and I do the same thing with the next 2 pulls. I don't group them. I pull 3 and then the last 4, and then I can see from that point on. The DPS is fine. The healer's fine. They're rotating cooldowns and stuns, so this should be a decent dungeon, and I can start pulling a little bit larger, which I will do coming up soon. For this pull here, make sure you have someone or yourself just interrupt the drain fluids. It's a pretty nasty stun that can definitely cause a wipe if left unattended. What we did here was we had our shaman drop his stun totem. When the stun totem wore off, the druid would throw his trees down, and after trees there was only a few left alive. It made it a significantly easier pull. So once that pull ends, you will get a prideful. Your first prideful at 20%. Just kind of want to make sure you keep it tucked away in this corner, kind of out of the way. There is a little patrol of about 5 little mobs that comes pretty close to here, and you do not want to pull those. You don't need them for the trash count. Now for the boss here, we will have Prideful plus the Kyrian buff, so he is going to melt pretty quickly. It's a fortified week, so he doesn't have the extra health in this week. So we pull him with the ads here, and we just burn them down fairly quickly with both buffs up at the same time. There should be no trouble whatsoever with this first boss. Now once you get up on this ledge, you want to pull these 2 little guys down here and then pull them together with that pack of 5 in front of you. Just being sure to interrupt both of the drain fluid casts as they go off. If you have a second Kyrian here, I would recommend activating this Juggernaut here to our left, using the Kyrian buff, and then pulling this with the Necromancer. You can even do that without a second Kyrian. It's just we wanted a nice smooth run here. Well, I did, so I just pulled these two by themselves. It did take a bit longer than I would have liked, but it's fine to do it this way. You can split these into two and just burn the Necromancer down as soon as you can when you pull the next pack. You want to make sure someone grabs this orb here. This is a very useful, very powerful AoE orb here that you generally want to use 2 pulls from now. That's a really nasty pull. We have to use it on the next pull because the Pride spawned a little earlier than we expected. But either way, just make sure someone grabs that orb here. You don't really want to pull this with the next pack, and as you can see here, coming up here, the Bone Mender in this pack needs to die as soon as possible. It needs to be CC'd if it's not Inspiring Week, and just burn that thing down as possible. Otherwise, it will constantly heal, and you will definitely wipe. You also want to watch out for the Fear on this large pull. This is a pretty nasty pull, so you want to blow as many cooldowns as you have here to help. I actually used the orb here because we got in a bit of a bind. The Prideful spawned, and we really needed to push the damage. So I used the orb on this pack. You can use it on the next one, whatever works for you. So this pull is very nasty, even more so on an Inspiring Week like we have here. You want to absolutely blow your defensive cooldowns here one at a time to help out your healer. It is Inspiring, so we could not CC anything here at all. We couldn't stun. We couldn't do anything. We had to just kind of burn it down. The Prideful buff will definitely help you here, but do what you can to help your healer as well. I had to lay on hands the Druid, and I believe I bubbled the Hunter as well. But yeah, get through this pull. If 1 or 2 people die, you know, chalk it off as just a very tough pull. We had the Hunter actually die here at the end from standing in a void zone. But yeah, don't get too discouraged if 1 person or 2 people die in this pull. It's extremely difficult. You want to make sure someone grabs that spear down there to the right. And for this pull here, pretty tough pull if you have a lot of melee. You want to make sure you face both of these away from the group. They have a frontal cleave that will probably one-shot any non-tank standing in front of them. You also want to set up an interrupt rotation. You would want to, as a paladin, take care of one yourself and have the DPS on the other one set up a kick rotation to not let any of these spheres get off. Next, you want to come over here to the left. You do not want to pull that Bone Storm dude there. You just want to pull this Necromancer. Once again, burn him down as quickly as you possibly can. After he dies, there will be a Prideful. It's kind of a wasted Prideful with the route we're taking, but that's okay because we're going to activate that Goliath there and get the Kyrian buff. So after we kill this Prideful and get the Kyrian buff from the Goliath, you're going to see we're going to Invis Pot all the way up to the second boss, and then we'll have the Kyrian buff on us for the second boss. The Prideful won't be there, but the Kyrian buff should be enough to help burn that boss down quickly. Now off to the right, there's another downed Goliath with another orb in it. You want to have someone grab that orb. Make sure they don't use that orb until the first set of adds are down. And as a paladin, you use your Kyrian ability, if you're Kyrian, to gather up all those adds in the middle, and then they can pop the orb. And as you'll see here, they just melt. Other than that, just interrupt as many of the boss casts right here as possible. Have DPS help you as backup if you need it, and just burn the boss down. After you kill the boss, you want to head back here and clean up a couple more of these packs so that you get optimally timed Prideful. So you want to kill this Necromancer once again. Just burn him down as quickly as you possibly can. And then with this next pack here, this can be very difficult for an uncoordinated pug. This Bone Mender has to die immediately. So what I ended up doing here, just so I didn't take any chances, I used my spear on the Bone Mender, and I pulled them over here. It took about half his health away immediately, which is super important. You want to kill him as soon as you can. The Shaman here, without me even telling him, did a very good job. He dropped his stun, and the Bone Mender got nothing off. It just melted. Once the Bone Mender's dead, just focus on kicking the fears. Make sure that Bone Storm mob is not patrolling towards you. You definitely don't want to pull him. But once you kill this pack here, you want to head up top to the next section. So if you've made it to this point with minimal deaths, you should be doing very good on time. You don't really do anything crazy up here in this necropolis. I see a lot of groups here. They kind of try to push it here, and they pull big, and there's really no need to. You're gonna stress your healer out. You're probably going to wipe. A wipe here wastes a ton of time. You have to fly back up. It's just not necessary. So pull one little group at a time here. You're gonna see we're gonna spawn a pride. I think it's after like the third or fourth group that we pull. We kill that pride, and then we just continue working on the larger pulls in the corner there. But yeah, just as I said, just take your time here. You know, use your cooldowns, help your healer out, and just don't pull anything too crazy as long as you're still good on time. So I skipped through most of this trash here. This pull in general, this is the last of the trash pull up here before the event starts. We already killed the Prideful. Just wanted to make a note here. We drop trees and we drop stun totems here. This is a very nasty pull. You want to make sure that you use your cooldowns that are available to you, but there's also a nasty armor debuff that gets placed on you that stacks. Once you get to around 4 stacks of this debuff, you want to just bubble that off. I just wanted to make note of that, or you definitely will get one shot. Although this might be a little difficult in a pug, just try to get your DPS or whoever to get these cleavers here, these arrows to point at the enemy mobs. What that does is it negates the fixate that they do, and it saves you a ton of time. If they start fixating someone, they have to kite them around the room, and you cannot cleave at that point. So, although it's a pug and the communication might not be great, just try to get them to line those arrows up, as you can see we did here, to stop those fixates. So if you follow the route correctly, you should be getting a Prideful right after this pack here. This is the pack just before the boss pull. So you want to kill this Prideful and then fight the boss. Now, you do not want to use Heroism on this boss. You should have a spear left. That should be plenty. You just spear him when he comes down. And even if you got to take 2 cycles to get this boss killed, that's not a problem at all. You really need to save Heroism for the boss up top. Okay, so now that the boss is down, and you can see here the shaman actually popped Heroism here. We weren't supposed to, but that's okay. We made a mistake. But with the boss down, again, you want to line up the cleavers if you have the big guy up still with the boss. That will stop his fixate. Same way as the trash. He just melts because we had spear, we had pride, and we had heroism. Really overkill, as you can see. You don't need that on here. Save it for up top, as you'll see right now. So normally you would pop heroism as soon as you pull this boss. This is a very tanky boss, and what I mean by that is he basically stays alive for a long time. He keeps you short 1 DPS constantly by sending a DPS down bottom. He's also got this shield up here that you have to break through, and you're not doing any damage to his health. Then he does comets, which you obviously right here. you need to kite, and there's not much damage going on, especially if you have casters. So it's a very long fight. You really want to have heroism if you're cutting it close. When we came up here, we had almost 6 minutes left to go. It took us about 3 minutes without heroism or pride to kill this boss. So if you're anywhere near 3 minutes and you don't have heroism, you really got to pump the DPS to get him killed. But yeah, that's about it. The rest of the fight is pretty simple. Everyone knows how to do this fight by now. And hopefully you like this video. I might put a couple more up. I'm pushing some hierarchies, and as always, they are pugs, so they're pretty adventurous. They just go one way or the other. But if we have any good pugs, I'll toss the videos up on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. I haven't made a video in a while, but I still am trying to get to 1,000 subs if I can. So if you could help me with that, it'd be much appreciated. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch. I'm on there pretty much every night around 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Everybody have a great day, and thank you for watching.